Everyone, shut up! Stop what you're doing, drop everything. For the time of reckoning is upon us, and I'm reckoning that I have to re-record this intro because I accidentally deleted the other one. So yeah, grab a hot beverage or a cold beverage, I don't really care what temperature you drink your beverages at, and enjoy the video. Oh, and if I start sounding sick halfway through the video, it's because I got sick halfway through making this video. Don't worry, you will see why. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun.
What are you looking forward to most about this film?
Well, I think I'm looking forward to cracking up.
Game of Thrones is by far the most influential and most popular show of the recent decade. Everyone loves Game of Thrones, and if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, you know Game of Thrones. However, something that you might know is that it has seen, variants of quality over the years. Seasons 1 through 4 are, well, perfect, to put it simply. Season 5 is kind of boring and bland, and I don't really like it that much. Season 6 is actually pretty good. It sets up a lot of stuff to be explored in later seasons. Of course, these things don't get explored in later seasons, but that's not Season 6's fault. Season 7, objectively, is, well, awful, but, I like it a lot. And, well, we know how Season 8 turned out. Now, out of the 73 episodes of Game of Thrones, what is the worst one? What is the stinkiest episode? What is the worst one? What is the one that has the least redeeming qualities about it? And no, the answer to this question is not some random episode in Season 5. Oh, and if it wasn't obvious.
You're spoiling everything!
Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night, is the worst Game of Thrones episode ever. But what about the Bells? They killed Daenerys' entire character arc. They killed Jaime twice, symbolically and quite literally. Well, here's the thing. The Bells has Euron in it. And Euron is funny. Now, no, The Long Night being the worst episode is not completely hinging on Euron not being in it, but it's hinging on it for other reasons. Those reasons are, well, watch the video. The reason I'm making this video is because I didn't really dive into this episode in my Game of Thrones video, so hey, I thought I would do this because it's easy content. So let's dive right in, yay! The Long Night opens on Sam rubbing his hands together. This is the indication of frickin' I don't know. Now, the music plus the long take coupled together to make a pretty suspenseful opening. Now, the music is, okay, it's pretty cool. Now, 2.5 minutes into this episode, it hits you, the realization that you can't see anything. This entire episode is just so dark. You can't see anything. And no, it doesn't make it more intense, it's just annoying. This series is fully capable of giving us a battle episode that takes place during night where you can still see everything. Blackwater and the Watchers on the Walls are two of the best episodes of the series, and you can actually see something. I get that they don't want us to immediately see the White Walkers, but like, come on man. Hardhome had this exact same build-up where the White Walkers attacked. It started off slow with building suspense and we didn't even see the army, but we knew what it was. The rest of that battle was shot in a very visually pleasing way, but that episode was a preview, a sneak peek of what the White Walkers were actually capable of. It really made me excited to watch this episode because I thought I was gonna see Hardhome on steroids. The Long Night is meant to be watched in a cinema? Who the fuck is watching this in a movie theater? I watched this episode in a dark room and I could not see anything. Also, of course it's better in the cinema. Everything is better in the cinema. That doesn't give you an excuse to make this blinding! Ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 minutes in and I hate myself. Oh my god, I haven't even started on the writing of this episode. Jesus Christ. So Ed is the first to speak in this entire episode.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This is genius writing because it is symbolic of how I feel about this episode. Now, let's take a second to analyze the forces here. They are all placed outside the castle because frickin' I don't know. So you guys know that scene in Season 2 where Theon said Ned Stark once said 100 men could defend Winterfell from 10,000? Yeah. Just putting that out there. There is just no way in hell that this many people with this much experience could come up with such a plan so awful. Ramsay only lost Winterfell because he met Jon and his forces in the field. Did you ever consider that? John. Alright, we are 7 minutes into this episode and something finally happens. So Melisandre arrives from the north. Like, what? How? We last see her in episode 3 of season 7, so within that time frame, it's not completely unbelievable that she would get from Dragonstone all the way to Winterfell. But like, how is she coming from this specific direction? Like, was she just 100 couple steps ahead of the White Walkers? Was she hanging out with them? What's going on? What's happening? She gives the Dothraki fire damage, and okay, that makes for a pretty cool shot. So Melisandre and Davos meet, and instead of Davos immediately trying to kill her like he said he would, he doesn't, because, well, I don't know. I actually found the script to this episode, and it deadass says, Davos is not pleased to see her. Like, come on, not pleased? She killed Shireen. Oh, Melisandre, you burned the only person I ever cared about alive. That does not bring pleasure to... What is going on? You guys remember that scene where he tried to murder her after she mentions his dead son, even though she wasn't responsible for that? I know Davos has grown as a character since then, but like, for him to say nothing is just... I don't want to do this. And then the Dothraki charge forward. I mean, it makes for a cool shot, but there is no way in hell that they expected this to work. So Jorah comes back, and because of course he does, it says it in the script. We gotta stick to the god-awful script. He also comes back with like maybe 6 Dothraki riders, despite us seeing hundreds in the Iron Throne. Like, where's the rest of the Dothraki? What is going on? So anyways, the walkers attack and the two armies collide, and I can definitely see what is going on. Like, Sir Roderick got executed better than these action sequences. I'm so sorry, I had to tell that joke. You have no idea how long I've been holding that in. Sansa and Arya are just kind of watching all of this, by the way. This shot of Jaime looking up at Drogon is actually pretty cool, because previously he had been on the devastating ending receiving of this. Good callback. Arya tells Sansa to fuck off, but Sansa insists because she's not abandoning her people, despite half these people not being her people. Arya tells Sansa to take this dagger, and Sansa says,
I don't know how to use it.
What?
What?
How do you not know how to use it? It's a knife. Just stick them with the... Oh. Oh, I see. Now I understand. Let's see what you did there. We need Sansa to say this dumbass line so that Arya can make a season 1 reference. Genius writing, ladies and gentlemen. Ed's death is actually kind of sad, and it was pretty shocking. Sam just kind of walks away, but like, bleh. There's this dumb sequence of Jon and Dany accidentally running into each other because they can't see anything, and this is genius writing because it's symbolic of how I can't see anything. Tormund tells everyone to fall back as if he has any authority to do so. Grey Worm yells to light the trench, so Davos picks up 2 torches and waves them. And let's be honest, Dany would not be able to see that if they weren't in a blizzard anyways. By the way, what do you think Dany is doing? Melisandre has a whole squad of Unsullied to protect her, I guess, and begins to light the trench. The sequence is actually pretty suspenseful, and the shot of the trench being lighted and the shot of her face while the fire is reflecting in her eyes is actually really cool. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, lighted is actually apparently a word. I checked after I realized I said lighted instead of lit. And yes, I would say that we have bigger things to worry about, but let's be honest. No, we don't. We cut to the crypt, and yes, this does break up the violence, and I can see something, so it's a win. Sansa and Tyrion talk about their marriage and reflect on how lucky they were that they were the only characters in King's Landing that actually liked each other. This conversation is really good, but I am still salty that Sansa never ever mentions Marjorie. I'm also salty that Tyrion and Olenna never talk about the crime that she committed, which he accidentally got framed for. Also, I'm salty that Yara never ever mentions Theon after he dies. Like, what the fuck, dude? Honestly, this show, I swear to God! So this conversation is actually really good until Missandei says this.
Without the Dragon Queen, there'd be no problem at all. We'd all be dead already.
Well, without Dany doing a same-day delivery of the dragon to the Night King, because I guess Dragonstone and wherever this is are within 20 minutes of each other, the Night King probably would have never made it past the wall. Wait. What was the Night King's plan to get past the wall?
By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Theon tells Bran that the trench is lit. First of all, how does Theon know this? And second of all, how does Bran not know this? Bran then says,
I'm going to go now.
Go where?
You know, guys, I really gave up a long time ago trying to decipher what the hell Bran is supposed to be saying, so I'm not even mad. Okay, this shot of the Night King is amazing. So the walkers are standing completely still, and no one is making any attempt to thin them out while they are literally doing nothing. Like, shoot them for God's sake. Lyanna tells everyone to man the walls, because get this, they weren't already manned. Oh, okay, now they're shooting them with arrows. Like, what is happening, dude? We're not even halfway through the episode, if you were wondering. All that has to happen for this defense to fail is for one person to miss one White Walker, which is exactly what happens. Lyanna Mormont dies the coolest death in fiction. The power of screenwriting compels you! Sandor tells Beric that you can't beat death, and this is just hilarious because he says that to one of two characters who has done exactly that. The other being Jon. By the way, what do you think Jon is doing right now? Meanwhile, in the outer atmosphere, Jon and Dany have a dumb chase sequence with the Night King and just, ugh. In fact, Jon and Dany spend a good majority of this episode just flying around on their dragons in the fog because they can't see anything. But then we cut to inside Winterfell, where Arya is sneaking around a bunch of walkers, and it is completely silent. The literal apocalypse is happening outside, but the library is just completely silent. The Winterfell library is covered with that sound-canceling bubble technology that we see in Dune. There is no other explanation. I don't even feel like talking about this segment. It's just so baffling stupid. Beric holds off the viciously relentless zombies by doing this. Yes, that ought to hold them off. Sandor uses a freaking bench to hold the door. Yes, that definitely worked last time. Melisandre says, "Oh, Melisandre's here. Was she in here the entire battle?" Her and Arya immediately start misinterpreting their interaction in season 3, and it's dumb. You already know it's dumb. You already know it's dumb. Let's just move on. Viserion and Rhaegal reunite, and while the audio may make it sound like they are viciously ripping each other to shreds, they're actually just play fighting, as siblings do. And you can't prove me otherwise because you don't have the evidence, because you can't see anything. The shot of the Night King falling off Viserion is pretty funny. He's like, wee! Okay, so Dany uses Drogon to try and burn the Night King, but it obviously doesn't work. This makes sense so far because we see him use this trick in season 3. But then she just gives up and leaves. What?
What?
Like, just have Drogon stomp on his ass. I like how the Night King smiles. Like, look at how smug this man is walking. Oh boy, we're at the part. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be a bumpy one. So the Night King starts doing the hand thing, and Jon's immediately panic makes perfect sense. Jon saw him use this trick in season 5, so he knows how bad this is. It's a little weird that Jon just kind of stops pursuing the Night King when there's a few whites in front of him, like, just push them out of the way, frickin' I don't know. The black hole of illogical sense is centered around the crypts. Okay, so first of all, why are the women and children in the crypt?
Terrifying down there. We're in a crypt. Nobody thought of that. He's bringing all the dead people back to life, and they put the women and children in a crypt with all the dead people. So, rah.
Jon is not the only character who knows about the hand thing. Ed and Tormund were both there to witness it. So tell me why they didn't tell anyone or even mention it. It's like really freaking important information. You'd think they'd mention it, but they don't. Secondly of all, how are these dead bodies breaking through these stone caskets? What the frick? Like, did the Starks build their tombs out of cardboard? What is happening? Oh my god. Now, who are these people? Whose bodies are these? Well, let's do a refresher course. The obvious most recent addition would be Rickon. Although, Rickon is a child. And he's probably not on the strongest side because he's obviously not the fastest runner. Robb and Kat's bodies were probably never recovered and probably never buried in the crypt. Ned's remains were returned to Kat, but that was nowhere near Winterfell. So the most likely recent Stark to be buried there that still has all of their limbs would be Lyanna, who has been dead for 25 years. So the chances of a 16-year-old's 25-year-old dead body breaking out of a stone casket is Well, microscopically none. So Dany saves Jon and tells him to walk to the Godswood while she is on a dragon, which can fly. Well, Dany kind of forgot that Drogon can fly, and this is genius writing because it is foreshadowing about her forgetting about the Iron Fleet. This episode won 5 Emmys, by the way. This is something that I only noticed when editing the video, but when Jorah saves Daenerys, there's this like weird cut where she's sitting down, but then she's just standing up. It's like really weird when you notice it. 5 Emmys, by the way. There's a sequence of Jon going through Winterfell and all hell is breaking loose, and hey, I can sort of see something, so it's a win. But at last, we have arrived at the only good part of the episode. And ironically enough, the worst episode has one of the best moments in the entire series. Theon's death is actually sad. Bran truly forgives Theon, which is the one person that he hurt the most. Theon Greyjoy dies defending the castle and defending the person that he hurt all the way back in season 2. By some miracle, they didn't screw that up. Thank God. Anyways, back to the bullshit. Jon hides from Viserion by hiding behind a rock that isn't being melted somehow. Keep in mind that this is the same dragon that tore down the wall last season, but it specifically states in the script that the rock is not being melted. So we have to stick to the script, ladies and gentlemen. Jon then stands up and yells at Viserion.
Dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
Hey Jon, maybe try stabbing the dragon with that Valyrian steel sword. It may or may not kill it instantly. Imagine how cool it would be if Jon Snow killed a White Walker dragon with his Valyrian steel sword that he was given to in season 1. Oh, no, we can't have the hero slay the dragon. We would never resort to traditional fantasy tropes. We would never do that, right guys? My neighbors must think I'm crazy. They're right, actually. Why am I watching this? But I've been dragging out every little detail in this episode because I've been delaying the inevitable. We have arrived at the absolute worst part of the episode, and in my opinion, the absolute worst moment in the entire series. And you already know exactly what I'm talking about. So, to put it simply, there's 2 issues with this. Issue number 1 is that it's Arya, of all people, Arya. And issue number 2 is, that's it? That's all it took? You just stab him and he's dead? Like, what? And to be honest, I can't really tell which one is more insulting. I honestly don't know where to begin. The writing is just so, I don't want to say awful. I feel like that's a little too nice. Why Arya? Honestly, why? Why her? There are so many other characters that would have made astronomic more sense. I mean, Tormund killing him would make more sense. Hell, Gilly killing him would make more sense. Because they are actually connected to the White Walker plot in some way. Arya has never even seen a White Walker. She has spent the previous, 3 seasons not even in Westeros. This is like at the end of Return of the Jedi, instead of Darth Vader killing Palpatine, Han Solo walks off the elevator and shoots Palps in the face. They have been building up for Jon to kill the Night King since season 5. Jon got resurrected to kill the Night King. They specifically tell us so 4 episodes earlier.
If you've planned your book that the butler did it, and then you read on the internet, someone has figured out that the butler did it, and you suddenly change in midstream and it was the chambermaid who did it, then you screw up the whole book because you get this foreshadowing early on and you've got these little clues you planted. Now they're dead ends and you have to introduce other clues and you're retconning. It's a mess.
This one writing decision destroys every conceivable rule of storytelling. Also, where the fuck did Arya come from? Like, did she drop out of the sky? The behind the scenes clearly shows Maisie Williams jumping off a raised platform. The stunt coordinators couldn't even make sense of this. Oh my god, I am so mad right now. I mean, all you had to do was just have, like, John kill him, or maybe Arya fails to kill him, and then, like, Bran wargs into his mind, because we do know that he can work into people. Jojen specifically remarks on this. My god, why'd you do that? That's such a better idea. Also, why is it that easy to kill him? 7 seasons of build-up. 8,000 years of spooky apocalyptic stories. And all it took was a whooshy dagger trick and a stab, like... And the episode isn't even done. Oh my god. Jorah dies protecting Daenerys, and it's a little cheap, but I think that's a pretty cool way to end his character. He either dies from the multiple stab wounds, or from this face that Emilia Clarke makes nice. And so, Lady Melisandre walks out among the dead bodies. She dies, it makes for a pretty cool shot, and the episode ends. And I am done. Good lord. So that was an experience that I never ever want to relive. But to be honest, it's not the biggest waste of an hour and a half. I am just so baffled that 2 different people could create such an awful way to end the main plot of Game of Thrones. And the worst part is, they made the White Walkers a subplot of Game of Thrones.
Prepare for the most epic battle of all time that nobody will see because it's too dark, and we'll say it's because they have bad TVs.
But even after all of that, even after this abomination of an episode, this show is still better than Breaking Bad. And we are getting House of the Dragon, which is 200 years before this episode. And it sucks because we probably won't see the White Walkers in that show. So I think that The Long Night will go down as the worst episode of the 73 installments of Game of Thrones. So please subscribe after I had to sit through that, and hit the like button if you want to. So I guess the next video will be Stranger Things, considering it comes out tomorrow, at least when I'm recording this. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that cold or hot beverage. Bye.
Tonight, finally feeling